Wow. I was so curious to see the car in the flesh. The color is unbelievable. Look at the color of this cancelletto. We call it cancelletto. It's beautiful, huh? Fantastic, the decision of using the Sakiori fabric. I love it. I love it. It's completely unusual. It gives a completely different touch to the interior.
When Ferrari asked us to collaborate with them on a tailor-made car, we had just finished a big round of product design collaborations with various Japanese artisans, and we thought it would be interesting to put together a Japanese-Italian love story by bringing these artisans into the collaboration to create materials and finishes that we could use in our edition of the Roma. There's such huge differences between Japanese and Italian cultures, but there's also so many similarities. There's a commitment to quality, there's a commitment to craftsmanship.
So one day we get a phone call, happens to be from Ferrari, and they asked us would we want to collaborate on a project digging really deep into their customization program.
Tailor Made is a program that is for customers to choose how they want the color and material finishes to be on the car that they're ordering. There's a range of possibility, and we, I think, pushed it a little further than has been pushed before.
We're absolutely obsessed with indigo. When we were in Japan, we saw how the dye was created, and it inspired us to use indigo in the design of the car.
This color is really striking, so beautiful. It looks like liquid, and also the transition between these two colors is never seen before. It catches the soul of the car.
I think the most romantic element of the car is the headliner, and that's the place where this love story between Japanese and Italian craftsmanship truly comes together.
Wow, this is unbelievable. The roof is really great job.
It starts with leather from Japan, which is dyed in indigo by Tsukumo, and that's a multi-stage dye process where there's a bit of a pattern and texture which is created into the leather. That leather then came to Italy, where it was cut into strips and woven in a very traditional Italian style to create this very artistic headliner in the car, which you only see if you're in the car.
So we knew we wanted to work with indigo. We knew we wanted to work with some of the indigo dyed leather, and that was really the magical thing. I think the car would have been beautiful with either the plain hide that we're using or the one that has this special artistic treatment on it. But when we put those two together and had them woven, it created almost like a painting. And we keep seeing these elements working together, where Japan artistry meets the artistry created here at Ferrari.
There's some elements of this design which are quite eye-catching, like the contrast between, the indigo-colored body and the copper-colored wheels. But then many more things about it that are special are really only visible to the driver and the passenger.
The first time we visited the island of Amami-Oshima, we learned about Sakiori. We visited the studio of Hajime Shoji and got to see the process in action.
A traditional kimono, once it's lived its life and it's become a bit worn, is typically disassembled, cut into strips, and then rewoven to make this Sakiori material, which can be used for a variety of different things. It's a very hardy, robust material.
We wanted to work with indigo kimonos to fit the colorway of the car. We used 2 vintage kimonos. Both were a dark indigo, but they each had a slightly different pattern in the original weaving, and the way they came together when they were woven into the sakiori material is a really lovely texture and a nice celebration of indigo.
Difference in the sakiori in this car is it had to be woven with nylon instead of with silk or cotton so that it achieved the durability levels necessary to meet automotive standards. This was an opportunity to prove that we can upcycle something old, bring more beauty to it, and create a very premium interior. And I think that's an important lesson of this, this idea can also be a process of making things even better than they were before.
We can't say with certainty that this is the first car ever made with sakiori for the interior, but we know for sure it's the first Ferrari ever made with sakiori. Tsukami is the traditional method for wrapping the handles of katana swords in Japan, and we use this as the inspiration for the door handles inside the car, which were woven by artisans in Italy in this very traditional Japanese manner.
One of the other components in this car is copper, and you can really see that very clearly, very visible on the wheels of the car itself.
The cancelletto is the specialized gear selector in the Roma. Ferrari had never customized one before, so we knew it was an interior detail we wanted to work on and push for. We were inspired by Kaikado, a family of artisans we met in Kyoto, whose family has been making copper T-tins for more than 140 years. And after a lot of experimentation, we found a way for them to plate the cancelletto in copper. It was then finished in Italy.
As we were thinking about how to summarize the project, we realized there was an opportunity to create some kind of graphic. And that's when we looked at the traditional process of creating a kamon, which is a Japanese house crest.
And we went through the process of creating a kamon with a company called Kyogen out of Tokyo. We were really excited to work with them. And as we went back and forth talking about what were the elements that we found inspirational about the car, we finally landed on something that has 2 primary components to it. One of them is a wheel, and that wheel is represented as an older wheel that you might find on a carriage of some sort. And the second element are waves. There are 8 waves, and there are also 8 cylinders in the engine in the Roma. So it's kind of the power, the energy, the movement, the fluidity comes through in the waves. So you have the waves and you have the wheel coming together. When you open the door to the car, you see the kamon in this copper color that's resting on top of the carbon fiber of the door sill. And we think it's a very subtle but very powerful way of talking about old and new coming together and these 2 cultures coming together to create something really special.
Working with Coulanting, we could, let's say, combine our visions, and it has been really stimulante, really inspiring for us to let's say, to absorb your ideas and to put them into a very unique creative process. So that's why this car is so special and so unique. Well, with this car we have, let's say, pushed the boundaries of the level of personalization of any kind of Ferrari, because there is such an incredible combination of materials that are not really belonging to the automotive field. So they are coming from other cultures, they are from other kind of inspirations, but the combination is really striking, I would say.
I'm so curious to know who ends up with this car. And we might not ever know. You know, some customers are very private. Others might want to really hear firsthand what the story was in creating it. I hope they want to meet us, because I want to meet them.
We knew that we weren't going to be changing the physical exterior of the car. We knew we were looking at the details, and It was about the color and the materials and the opportunities that we could create within the various spaces of the car. So that's where we really focused and where I think we found a lot of success. And from the Ferrari point of view, I think we achieved the goal, which was, can you push us as far as we can go to customize one of our cars through our Tailor Made program? And I think we've been pretty successful at pushing them. You never know for sure, but several people have said, we believe this is likely one of the most customized Ferraris ever to leave the factory. And that's something that we're really proud and excited by.